Thank you very much for inviting me to this wonderful conference, a very long-term event in the Oriental and especially Central Asian numismatics. And today I would like to speak a little bit about some new readings, some new ideas concerning the coins with Sogdian legends. And it's the majority of pre-Islamic coins from the regions of Semirechie and Middle Syrdarya. So the regions I'm speaking about are around here. So it's actually some scholars, geographers, they say that the valley of Two Valley, which is here, and Talas Valley, which is here, they don't belong to Semirechie proper, but historians, philologists, and so on consider it a part of Semirechie. And what is Semirechie in my speech today are these southern marginal areas of Semirechie in the very proper sense, but nevertheless, traditionally, I call it Semirechie. And Middle Syrdarya River, so it's here to the north of Chach, to the north of Tashkent, around Aris, the last tributary of Syrdarya, and this part of Syrdarya. And how did I come to the idea to speak about that? Is the effort organized by the Institute of Documentary Heritage in Korea and managed by the Institute of International Institute of Central Asian Studies, which is housed in Samarkand, and it is under umbrella of UNESCO. So we are putting together various elements of Sogdian written heritage together in order to document it and eventually to preserve it to some extent. And after the first work on this matter, we realized that what is in urgent need is a new collection and new view on the Sogdian coinage, and the coinage with Sogdian inscriptions. So the main basic book on this subject is Ольга Ивановна Smirnova, 1981, Сводный каталог сагдийских монет. There are significant additions to it of some parts, for example, Kamyshev, early medieval coins, assemblage of Semirechie, 2002, sorry for misprint, and catalog of coins of Chach of 2006. Even since then, the material is growing, and during this half a year we are working on this project, I had to rewrite some of the entries 3 times in order to take into account some new finds. So this is what the book will look like once upon a time in future, I hope in the near future. So from this proof, you can realize that very much has to be done, and still we are waiting for some papers, and I am very slowly editing the others. So it will be organized, first of all, according to the coin legend. So from the title, you realize that it's a catalog of Sogdian coin legend. That was actually my idea. The Sogdian coinage is a very huge, extremely huge field, and what I don't master it all. I am not a numismatist. I am a philologist. You can eat me, you can beat me, you can disregard me, but I'm a philologist, and for me, the legends are the most important part of the coin, most informative part, I would say. So this is a catalog of these legends, but so from these legends, we can somehow approach the present condition, the present situation in Sogdian coinage. It is just the year 2024, and hopefully very soon our collection will be outdated due to discoveries of new materials, which happen very often. So there are around 200 coin types with different Sogdian inscriptions, Sogdian legends or content marks. So it is being prepared by a group of colleagues from Uzbekistan, Babayarov, Goibov, and administered in Uzbekistan by Alim Faizullayev, Alisher Begmanov, who is now in Berlin, works on Samarkand, and Samarkand oasis. Alexei Kulish, my colleague from Hermitage, is working on Bukharan copper coins and some other things. Alexander Naimer, whom you all know very, very well. Hi, Sasha. He is working on antique silver coinage, Bukhar Khuda silver, and the copper coins, or bronze coins in proper sense. Sometimes I will call it copper, but in fact it's copper alloy bronze from southern Sogdian. Your humble servant is working on Semirechie coinage, what I'm going to speak today, Khwarezm, Takharistan, and Khorasan. So there are coins and mostly quantum marked with Sogdian legends from these regions. I am also an editor of the whole volume, and I am actually completely merciless in that respect, and I rewrite many parts written by other colleagues and do it and make some kind of Frankenstein monster from the production of my dear esteemed colleagues. So this is how a good short entry looks like. So it's completely bilingual in Russian and in English. So first is description of the coins, then usually some information about where and how it was found, its metrics, and so on. Then transliteration of the legend. The most important thing for us, translation and discussion of the coin, its attribution, and especially of the reading of the coin. So what is related to it, bibliography and images. Images mostly come from the Zenoru website, and to a lesser extent from museum collections or excavations of the participants of the authors of this future catalog. We are speaking about, first of all, true volley with the sites like Agbeshim, Krasnaya Rechka, Krishtobe, and the region of Talas River, Taraz, Tekapket, and so on, and the region of Istijab, Itskir, and Otrar oasis. And in the following, I will give a brief summary of what we have from that regions and comment more about some types where we were able to discover something new. So there are 17 coins with Sogdian legends from Semirechie, from Chu and Talas Valley, and 5 types from Middle Syrdarya. They're the ones with which are inscribed in Sogdian. So archaeological considerations, unfortunately, are of little help here, despite all the large work conducted on Krasnaya Rechka, Agbeshim, and many other sites. Unfortunately, the context is not always very clear. But sometimes we know approximate location of the finds. So we have to operate with numismatic and with linguistic data in order to approach that. So there are several stages in that development, and the first stage, perhaps, although we don't know exact date, are the solid cast coins. They are rather solid, rather thick, and they are cast, they are not struck, with images, with portraits. So one of them is so-called Suyap type, so the portrait of a gentleman in a pointed hat on one side, and the Tamga, X-shaped Tamga, I would say, on the other. And a similar type from Istijab, where Gaibulaba Bayarak reads the term Spartni, which means commander, general, in Sogdian. They are, to some extent, to a large extent, similar to the early coinage, early copper coinage, bronze coinage of Samarkand before mid-7th century, like this type. So there are several types like that. From that consideration, we can consider that they are the old. But the break and the real development of Semirechie type of coinage are the Turkish coins. First, there are Turkish coins without any additional marks, and with the legend coin of the Lord Turgesh Kagan, the first red Sogdian coin, by the way, perhaps of Chinese craftsmanship, done very, very well, cast very, very well, and surely dated to Sulu Kagan. It's important to note that these coins are found in great number, and those outside Semirechie, also in central China, and in Sogdian in Panjshir. So one of them was found in the reconstruction of the wall before 722, before the fall of Panjshir. So in the same time when Sulu Khagan made his way to Transylvania. Almost all of the pre-Islamic coins of Semirechie are direct or indirect continuations of this Turgesh model. So immediate continuation are Turgesh with additional mark. So here we have an M-shaped letter, perhaps M-shaped sign. Some scholars consider that it is a runic Turkic letter R. Who knows? It is a similar one with the mirrored writing Sogdian Farn, glory on the other side, and this one has a reverse Sogdian Mach, which means moon, also a moon god. There are various debased types of Turkish coinage, and here is one. You see that the writing here is upside down, so the top of the letters go to the center of the coin, and the other side is completely flat. This is one of many debased types of Turkish coinage. Less direct continuation are the coins which used to be called tukhus for quite a long and suggested to be issued by Tuksi tribe of Karluks, which is documented in Arabic sources, but unfortunately the writing doesn't confirm that, and Yutaka Yoshida considers that it's written Banant Ma, victorious moon, quite standard Sogdian name. So there are also several types of that, and they are very well known. Less direct continuation are the coins of King Vakshutat. Its Sogdian name means powerful through Vakshu, through Oxus, through river god. This one's a little difference between each other, yeah. And another one which came to light quite recently, which has a similar backside and a similar formulary in the front side, which I read Al-Taf Tutadipani, the coin of the king Al-Taf. And if Vakhtutadi is Sogdian name, Al-Taf is a very good Turkic name. So they all mingle together, and Sogdians and Turks formed the similar sequences. Another sequence we can recognize of the features of the coin is so-called Arslanid coins. They have been known for long. The first ones that follow the Turgesh model quite slavishly have their writing Arslan Irkin Kubupani, coin of the ruler Arslan Irkin. The next one, which deviates from its sign with its tamga, is written Arslan Kül Irkin. Arslan Kül Irkin. And the important here is that the word Kül, wise in Turkic, is written with digraph, WY, which is a feature that appears in early 9th century in Karabogasun inscription, but it's more common in the 10th century text. I think that's how we approach approximately the dating of these coins. And even later is the coin of the Lord Arslan Bilge Khagan, with very different backside, as you can see. Indirect continuation. Yeah, the coins of Karluk Khagan after 766, when Karluks destroyed Turgesh, they started minting their own coins. On the one side, we see that just a replacement of the title, the coin of Lord Karluk Khagan, and on the other side, some king Putau with the name Tupac of Quebec. They are all found in Shishka Bay in the western part of Tuvau Valley, next, not far from the winter camp of Karluks, as reported by Arab geographers. Another indirect continuation are recently discovered coins of two slightly different types. So here you see that Tamga is different, and there is a third coin of this type, which I'm not authorized to show you Now, on obverse, not others, of course, we can write something in the beginning, then begin, ruler of Prince Huvopani, coin of the ruler Al-Tegin, something like that. On the reverse, we can read Vahi Shanuch Haganipani, coin of the revered dignitary Kagan, Shanuch, a Sogdian word for revered, not attested in numismatics before. Another type is also perhaps can be read like this, and also Vahi Shanuch Hagan Pani. So Shanuch Hagan and her merged together, Santi as their link, as my fellow linguists would say, and it became Shanuch Hagan. So I think quite a reasonable reading. Another type of indirect continuation are illegible, unfortunately almost illegible coin series from Semirechie and Taraz, which were once read as Inalpingin coins. You see that writing is very far from perfect, so this thing just like one letter T is perhaps a rendering of Farn in Sogdian, and the other side is also one can only recognize some phrases of words, no more. Another indirect continuation, and it's also indirect continuation of the Suyap coin we spoke about. Look at this Tamga, look at this Tamga, look at this Tamga, look at this Tamga. They are rather close to one another. They are read by myself and independently Yoshida as Yaglakar Hobopani Hachi. This is the coin of the Yaglakar ruler. Yaglakars are the ruling clan of Uyghur. On the other side, Yotaka reads Parkuntu Bevar, let him be happy, also a common expression in Soviet. So this time, these points are known for some 10 years or even more. This is another point of with the similar Kambra, and the obverse is reading Vahi Tuzun Tegin Pani, coin of the Lord Tuzun Tegin. What is interesting on the back side are these things. Unfortunately, another picture didn't come out in my presentation today. Sorry. So this looks like Sasanian ribbons. The ribbons that come from the shoulders of the king and are symbolizing something kingly, royal. We don't know. Here we have something like that, but we don't have the figure in the center. However, in Manichaean art of Kufan, we sometimes meet these ribbons just outside the empty hat, or just coming above the lines of the manuscript. So maybe they were Manichaean, but it's just a hypothesis. I can add that Uyghurs, including Yaglakars, were to a large extent Manichaean. So, and finishing with Semirechie, just a coin, or as Sasha Neimer suggests, rather a token of certain Nur tree. There is a find from Karabalka, and another, this beautiful coin was found very far away in southern Ural mountain, in Chelyabinsk region, for some reason. Very interesting. So it has Sogdian name, and Yutaka Yoshida reads it Nur-Free Hepa, property of Nur-Free. Today, thanks to Vladimir Belayev, I learned about the third coin of this type discovered in Semirechie. Coin or token, we don't know. And now we move to the region of Istijab and Middle Syrdarya. So this is Aris River. This is Istijab, which means white water, like Aris itself comes from Old Iranian Arusha, which means white, and on its confluence with Syrdarya. There are 5 types of these coins. Two of them are attributed to Atrar, and the location of finds also indicate they are mostly Otrar. They were read by Vaibullah Babayarov and his co-author Asanov, and slightly corrected by me. Ukurtik, the first word, maybe the one belonging to the clan, and then Alp Kagan Tutuk, Tutuk Alp Kagan or Tutuk of Alp Kagan. The second line, so it's in two lines, yeah, it's the whole Shahnameh written here. Alp Kagan Ukurtik, something like that, perhaps a not very successful attempt to render all this story. On this point with the square hole, Babayarov also read Alp Kagan Tutuk or Alp Kagan Tutuk. What is important here for me as for linguists is, first of all, the spelling of Alp, a common part of Turkish words. First of all, in both cases, it is written with final U, with final va. What does it signify? I don't know. I would not tell you, but I will tell you that in the Karabulgasud inscription of early 9th century, this spelling is attested very commonly and nowhere else. And another thing is that here, unlike the later coins, we don't have a separate letter for sound L, which was alien to native Sogdian words and appeared only with the developed contacts with Chinese, Persians, and especially Turks. And the first attestations of this L comes also from maybe very late 8th century or 9th century. So these points are earlier, and I would date them to the 8th century, perhaps, or maybe very early. Another type of coins are Karaspan Tibet coins, which were published by Baitanayev, Petrov, and Bragg in 2020. They're from Karaspan Tibet, which is Arsubani Khat, one of the towns of Istijab. They are unepigraphic, so I have nothing to do with them, basically. But just look at the rider on one side of it. It's something like imitative, rather primitive coinage. I think that this rider copies the rider of on Khwarezmian coins and on goose coins of Lower Syrdarya, which are clearly dependent on Khwarezmian prototypes with Arabic letters. There was a recent progress in reading these coins, or otherwise from the Bukhagan coins from China. Also, I think that they are closer to Soviet, to Khwarezmian counterparts, but it is a member of the structure of feeling. And the coins of commander of Istijab. So one of they have this samga, this sign, which is to some extent similar to Suyap sign, but much more closer to Uspokana sign, to this coin of Kosavatari, this epsilon-like thing. So one is a portrait, I've shown it already, and the word is Spadni, commander, read by Vaibullah Babayarov. Another one coin, which has imitation of square hole, it's important, was read in somewhat different ways by Babayarov and by Yoshida. And so Yoshida's reading, which I actually favor, is the coin of the Lord Irchor Irti. This is the coin of Irti Spadni, General Irti, or maybe Azat Spadni, the free general. So the Spadni is also here, and the location of finds indicate that it's somewhere around Izbekistan. And I finished with the coin which has been known also relatively recently. It also has an imitation of square hole, like the previous one. It's also cast, of course, and on the other side there is a tamga, which looks like a bow and arrow, or maybe it's my fantasy. Anyway, so Babayarov and Kubatin read it as late Andrei Kubatin, Pani Khazar Kubukhutcho, the coin made Khazar by the ruler Khutcho. For me, that for the philologists, it's not really satisfactory. And why? Because Sogdian Khazar is a shortening of a perfect form, Akirtuzar. This is the perfect form. The short perfect form is attested, likely once attested in inscription of Sogdian on the Christian inscription on the rim of big home, but it cannot stand alone. It's just a base. If I made the actual Kazaram, I have done, he has done Kazar, you have done Kazari, and so on. So Kazar itself is doesn't have any meaning. And so instead I read the inscription as Kazari Hubu Hutavi Pani, coin of the ruler king of Heder. The coins, 3 coins are known, and 2 of them, one of them is reported from Khanka, it is Tashkent region, and another from somewhere in Chimkent area, southern Kazakhstan, it's Punjab, and so on. So what does it mean? It means that the coin perhaps was issued by the ruler of the place called Kedar, or properly Kadar. It is a city in East Punjab in Islamic sources, the principal source city of Parab district, which means riverside in Sogdian. The toponym probably contains Sogdian Var only at the end, and the first part is obscure. Otherwise, it could be a rendering of Persian Guzar passage. And it is commonly identified with the Turuk site, which is famous for carved wood decorations in Sogdian style discovered by Karl by Papa, like the one at the bottom. So that's all. Thanks for attention.